Well, here we are again, back at the Japanese embassy near Green Park in London, following our earlier protest at the Danish embassy. And the reason we're doing this is because it's not only the Faroe Islands where whales and dolphins are being cruelly slaughtered, but they're also being cruelly slaughtered in Taiji Cove in Japan. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes!
Now, I have been coming along with many of you to this embassy for many, many years. Through the rain and the cold and the summer days, we keep coming back. And even through the darkness of this pandemic, we've never given up. There's always been people outside of this building making their voice clear that we're never going to forget, we're never going to go quiet when it comes to the disgusting slaughter of dolphins and whales in Taiji Cove. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes!
Now, just like the Faroe Islands, the Japanese fishermen claim it's their cultural rights to kill dolphins and whales in Taiji Cove, but we know it's not culture. Just like in the Faroes, it's about greed, it's about cruelty, and it's about exploitation. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes!
The global marine park business is worth many billions of dollars. And we know that the dolphins that are not slaughtered in Taiji Cove are taken away and valued at over $150,000 apiece to be stuck in concrete prisons for the so-called entertainment of tourists. Do you think that's appropriate?
No!
It's cruel, it's depraved, it belongs in the Stone Ages, not the 21st century. And only now we're beginning to see the tourist industry wake up to the reality that it's not smiling dolphins, it's not fun for families, it's exploitation and cruelty, and that people shouldn't go on holiday to so-called marine parks to find dolphins that were taken from Taiji Cove where their families were slaughtered around them, and they're left in these prisons for the rest of their days for tourists to sit with their popcorn and their Coca-Cola, getting so-called pleasure from the exploitation of these beautiful animals. It's disgusting, it's cruel, it's exploitive. The tourism industry should be ashamed of itself and profiting from this. The fishermen of Taiji Cove should be shamed for selling these dolphins into the tourism industry. And ultimately, the government of Japan, represented behind us, should stop this slaughter and this exploitation today. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes!
And of course, it's not just Taiji Cove which Japan is responsible for. It's also responsible for the return of commercial whaling. Since 2019, the Japanese have killed thousands of minke whales in their territorial waters. Yet there is no market for whale meat. Most of it ends up as dog food or fertilizer. The Japanese people don't want to eat it. The Europeans don't want to eat it. Most of it ends up being destroyed, not consumed. Is there any justification for killing whales today? Any?
No!
I chaired a meeting of the International Whaling Commission this week, looking at the anniversary of that organisation. It was set up in Britain in 1946 to manage industrial whaling. By the 1960s and 70s, countries like Britain and Russia and Korea pushed the global population of whales to the verge of extinction in an orgy of violence and destruction unprecedented in the history of mankind. It's only since the early 1980s that we've had a moratorium on whaling. But countries like Japan continue to break out of the international community and say they have a right to continue this barbarism. Norway's also guilty of killing whales when it shouldn't. We've seen a temporary halt in Iceland, but there's still a danger that it could return to whaling as well. We must say to all of these countries that there is no place for industrial commercial whaling in the modern world. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes!
So Japan has a duty as a modern industrial country to show leadership. Britain as a government needs to force Japan to take action. The European Union needs to force Japan to take action. And the International Whaling Commission, which is now a convention that based on protection of whales rather than slaughter and destruction, needs to be given the money and support by governments to take firm action to stop the killing of these animals. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes!
That's why we must keep coming back here to stop commercial whaling. That's why we must keep coming back here to stop the slaughter at Taiji Cove. Just like the Faroe Islands, we can't remain silent. We must keep campaigning, keep our voice strong. We are the moral voice of care and compassion from the marine environment. There's a lot of talk at COP26 in Glasgow about making the oceans, the health of the oceans, connected directly to the health of people. Well, if we continue to slaughter whales and dolphins in the way that we are destroying our own future as well. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
So keep it up, keep fighting, keep calling on Japan to take the actions necessary to stop this slaughter. Thank you very much.